Welcome to Living the Lucky Tiger Life. Once again, I am your host, Robert Burnett. And one of the things we like to do here is talk about, for those men who want to look good and feel great, part of that is traveling. Part of that is experiencing the world. Part of that is just being your best self while looking good and smelling great, let's face it. And with Lucky Tiger products, you can do that. And once again, I have the master of ceremonies from mantripping.com, the man with the plan, Mr. James Hills, to tell you about his recent journey, his recent adventure down Mexico way. So once again, please welcome to Living the Lucky Tiger Life, Mr. James Hills. Welcome, James.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So, you know, you went down to Mexico way. You weren't even like trying to evade a posse. There was nobody gunning for you. You were going to Mexico, not to hide out, but to have some fun. So tell us where you went and what did you do?
So this time I was down in Loreto, Mexico, which is just north of La Paz. And for those of you who aren't that familiar with the Baja Peninsula, it's about halfway up the peninsula on the Sea of Cortez, not the Pacific side, but the inside of the peninsula. And it's one of the most fabulous places for fishing and snorkeling and dolphin watching and all sorts of awesome stuff. And the thing that's cool about this place is it's a destination where guys have been enjoying it. The whole peninsula, to be honest, has been a playground for men from Southern California, whether that's expats that have moved down or whether it's pilots who discovered it after World War II. But it's just got a really cool playground kind of feel for Americans.
Now, how far away is Loreto from the California border? Like, how long does it take to get there?
So the nice thing about being in San Diego, where I am, is that we've got the Tijuana Airport, which is just across the border, and we got the thing called Cross Border Express. So you have essentially it's a private border crossing. So from there, it's about a 90-minute flight. On paper, they book the flights at about 2 hours because, frankly, nothing in Mexico runs on time. From Los Angeles, it's about 2.5 hours or so. But it's super convenient. They've got direct flights from Los Angeles. They got direct flights from Tijuana, and I think they're working on direct flights from parts of Texas and Arizona as well. So it's a great destination, and of course you can connect. So if you want to go there from Seattle, you can just connect through Los Angeles and go down.
Set the stage for us. What is there? Obviously, it's on the water. Is it a sprawling community? Does it seem like it's a place out of time? What kind of accommodations do they have?
The big draw obviously is the water, and so a lot of stuff is based on or near the water. But it's kind of it's not a city. It's a relatively small town, very very friendly, very safe. I think as an American we have a cultural bias against Mexico because we either think of the big resort cities like Puerto Vallarta and Cancun, or the big cities like Tijuana, we're like, oh, that's not safe down there. Walking around at night, while I wouldn't go outside the tourist areas, the same goes for Los Angeles.
Right.
I had no problem, but I didn't feel uncomfortable whatsoever. And so, you've got the big, they call them big mega resorts south of town. But then you've got, if you want to go there just as a guy's weekend and if fishing is all you care about, there's places that are under $100 a night that are perfectly safe, very, very clean. Like the Hotel Santa Fe is one place we toured. If you want to do a more luxury experience but not a resort, there's La Mission Hotel, which I think the rates there were just about $300 a night for something right on the Malecon. So your view is right of the water, and you can walk to the marina for your tours. Those places are nice, but they kind of lack some of the culture and the specialness. But there's one place in particular that I really want to go back to. It's called the Oasis Hotel, and it's literally a step back in time to old Mexico, classic Mexico, whatever you want to call that, where they've got hammocks outside the doors. It's right on the beach. And check this out. One of the big things that Loreto is known for is their chocolate clams. And so
like real clams?
Real clams. It doesn't taste like chocolate. It's just that the clams have a darker skin to them.
So it's not like they're putting mole on clams.
No, but that sounds pretty good.
Actually. I know, right? So, I'm like, okay, I'm into that.
But I think it's every Saturday or every Friday they have a clam bake, where they go out and they have the guys dig up the clams and put them in kind of gravel, and then they cover it with branches, and they light this giant bonfire on top of it, and that's a big festival. And just eat clams while the sun goes down. And so,
I'm in.
there's certain things in life that you just can't get in the United States. And
Right.
so being able to have a clam bake while the sun goes down, while you're sipping some Mexican wine, maybe some Mexican beer, maybe some tequila, maybe all three, uh, and then after you have a big belly full of fish and seafood, laying in a hammock until you're ready to go to bed. I mean, that just it's the kind of thing that sounds like a fairy tale or sounds like a dream, but it's true there, and it's pretty affordable actually. So I got a chance to do the clam bake there, and that was really awesome. But I can't wait to go back and experience the full thing.
Now you have some pretty extraordinary photos you took there on the water. I mean, the water is crystalline, just the most inviting shade of blue. But you've got pictures of like dolphins really close to you.
Yeah.
And how did that work? Are they just there hanging out, or do you take a day trip out into the water, or how does that all work?
So the Loreto town is surrounded by a bunch of different islands. One of the larger ones is Isla Coronado, but then there's a bunch of other ones that are around there. The pictures that I showed you from this trip are all from Isla Coronado, which is just a brilliantly white sand beach with turquoise, crystal clear water. The water is like going to a swimming pool, to be quite honest. As far as the dolphins go, I'm cynical sometimes on some trips because I go there once and I'm like, okay, did these guys like put chum in the water and attract stuff? I was down there in April and we had literally hundreds of dolphins around us, and I was like, okay, this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It can't possibly be replicated.
Sure.
Well, here I was, several months later in a different part of the water around Loreto, and we had hundreds of dolphins again. So, based on 2 out of 2 trips, I would have to say that you have a darn good chance of doing something similar. And the dolphins were just having a lot of fun playing around. I mean, these dolphins this time were a lot more active. Last time they were more focused on feeding because I think they were just demolishing a school of fish. But these dolphins were jumping out of the water doing flips. It was like SeaWorld, but you were surrounded by it, and it was just remarkable. So I just hung my camera off the side of the boat and started snapping away. And I have thousands of pictures of the water, and I've got 2 or 3 pictures of dolphins. So that's just how life is sometimes.
Now, is there snorkeling down there? Is there scuba diving? What kind of water sports, boating? What's going on as far as that's concerned? And can you go fishing? Are there day trips?
So the area right around Loreto is actually a protected marine park. There's no jet skiing. And you're not going to have water skiing and some of the more aggressive motorsports like that. But you are allowed to do regular propeller boats. You are allowed to do fishing, snorkeling, scuba diving, just going out there, laying in the back and floating in the water. Whatever you want to do, that's pretty much open. You have to get a permit, of course.
Right.
Kayaking is particularly popular as well. And, there's guys out there in little fishing boats that are kind of, a guide and 2 guys. And there's guys out there in giant, 60-foot mega yachts that are just cruising through the water too. So
sure.
It's one of those things that, yes, it's going to cost a little bit of money to get down there and do stuff. But once you're there, if you're the guy who wants the 5-star or 6-star, I'm just inventing that 6-star level experience, you can go and spend a buttload of cash. But if you're the guy who wants to go down there with a couple buddies and say like, hey, dude, let's go catch some Dorado, and then let's take the fish into a restaurant in town and have them cook it up, and we'll just enjoy celebrating the bounty of nature. You could do that on a couple $100 a day.
Right. Now, what is the restaurant situation there like? Like, do they have high-end restaurants? Is it restaurants mostly on the beach? And like you said, they're amenable to you bringing in the catch of the day, and they'll cook it up for you.
Yeah, there's a few in town that do allow you catch, they cook kind of stuff. Honestly, the laws in Mexico are a little different than they are in the U.S. So the health codes don't quite apply the same way they would if you were, say, fishing in California.
Right. Okay.
So, that's not to say that they aren't healthy and not safe. It's just they're more open to doing things that you want them to do. The spectrum of restaurants is very, very wide there. You're probably not going to find the super high end stuff in as abundance as you would in Los Angeles.
Sure.
But you're going to find great taco shops where you're getting stuff for for $1 or $2 a taco. There was a great dinner we had right underneath the tower for the first mission. Actually, the first mission in the California system. But most of the food is pretty is pretty mid tier as far as the cost. But if you wanted that fancy dinner, you go get it. I mean, that Mission Hotel that I mentioned before, we had a dinner that was on par, quality wise and preparation wise, with pretty much anything you'd find in Los Angeles, except for the very very top tier.
Right. I would imagine the food there, especially like seafood, obviously, but the rest of the food's probably pretty fresh too.
Oh, absolutely. As far as the seafood, pretty much everything is either from the Sea of Cortez or from the Pacific side. In the 4 or 5 days I was down there, I think virtually every meal was involved, fish, shrimp, or clams.
Right.
And the the funny thing is, after that many days of that, I was kind of like, I need some fiber, I need some vegetables, I need a salad. Because as wonderful as that is, sometimes you need a little bit of mixture, and that was really the only thing I didn't see a lot of. But if you can get plenty of beans if you want that.
Sure.
You get tortillas. The breakfasts were fabulous. This one place we went to, it was called Jilly's Chili, and it was essentially a chili relleno with scrambled eggs inside, and it was absolutely fabulous.
Wow, that sounds great.
And cheap. Like everything is like under $10.
which is even better. Mexican tequila is a big thing. Is there distilleries, or do they make tequila at distilleries? Do they have local tequilas and local hooch, or is it what is the liquor situation there down there like in that area?
So the local situation there is not. Tequila for the most part is coming from Jalisco, and
Sure.
then other parts of Mexico, mostly on the mainland, are doing agave spirits like Sotol and Bacanal and Mezcal. There is absolutely spirits to drink there, so you're not going to go thirsty. And
Right.
and the same way with beer. I don't know if there's any breweries in that particular town, but certainly, there's no shortage of Tecate, Pacifico, and Victoria, and whatever Mexican beers. But for whatever reason, and I think it's probably because I just like wine myself, they had lots of wine. Every dinner was with Mexican wine from Valle de Guadalupe up in northern Baja. And it's interesting because some varietals that you might think of not being chilled, like for instance, I would never chill a Malbec.
Right.
But one of the best wines I had down there was a Malbec Cabernet Sauvignon blend that was actually a lot lighter than you would get if you got it from like an Argentine vineyard, and they served it chilled, and it was just absolutely fabulous. It was perfect. So it's kind of one of those things where the wines are a little bit thinner, less dry, served chilled, and it tastes perfect in a hot environment.
And so those, I'm not very familiar with Mexican wines. Like when you say the northern Baja region, is that primarily what they're selling there? Is that those Mexican wines? And is Malbec, say, your favorite?
Malbec is one of my favorites. I just enjoy big, bold, fruity wines, especially when paired with a nice, juicy steak.
Right.
But at the same time, with down there a Pinot Gris, which is a little more acid, a white wine, paired really well with
Sure.
shrimp. And everything chilled just tasted good, and kind of in the zone of when in Mexico drink Mexican wine.
Right. I feel the same way. Whenever you go to a place, I like to drink the local hooch. Whether it's wine, whether it's spirits, whether it's a beer, because to me, that's part of the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, not to get too wine geeky on you, but one of the things that I also enjoyed finding out about Loreto was that it was actually the birthplace of California wine. So,
Really?
Which is weird when you think about it, but the Spanish settlers, the Spanish missionaries, got an exemption from the king to allow them to make wine for religious purposes.
Wow.
And so the first grapes in California, which at that point California was everything from California Baja Sur up to California Alto, which would be what we look at as California, United States now.
Right.
And so the mission system started in Loreto, and it spread north and south. And so the grapes were there first.
Wow. Okay. And is that something? Do they have museums there where you can go see this history?
So not much about the wine history is celebrated there, but the mission, there's a mission downtown that was the first, and that didn't work out so well because there wasn't it's not a very good, it's a very dry area that's not good for agriculture.
Right. Okay.
But then in order to have it more sustained and sustainable, they moved it inland. I don't know, let's call it 20, 30 miles up into the mountains, where it was absolutely beautiful, better able to support olive trees and vineyards and mangoes and avocados. And at one point, somebody called it the Garden of Eden, because here was the monks that were cultivating this amazing farm with just tons of great food. And so that's one of the oldest standing missions in the mission system, because the later missions were actually built out of adobe. And so most of the missions in Alto, California at this point are destroyed because adobe just falls apart because of mud.
Is there other resorty kind of things like a golf course, or is it mostly you're mostly enjoying nature?
Yeah, so there's two major golf courses down there. The one we went to earlier this year is Villa de Palmar. It's about 40 minutes south of town. But it's absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite resorts because it's affordable. The golf course has recently gotten all sorts of different awards. I'm probably gonna get some of the awards confused, but essentially, it's one of the best golf courses in Mexico, and there's all sorts of awards to what they've received to verify that. One of the pictures that I absolutely love is on the 17th hole. I think there's 8 different tee boxes, and the green is out on the end of sticking out into the water with drop-offs of 500 feet on either side. So you've got to be a really good golfer to hit it from the pro tee boxes, or else you're going to be swimming with a scuba gear to get your ball back. But it's just it has some amazing visuals and has great elevation. I mean, I love the course that we have in Palm Springs in Florida also, where it's mostly flat.
Right.
But this just has relatively short holes, but if you calculate in the elevation, they're really, really challenging. And it's a TPC course, fabulously maintained, great staff there. And that resort has a great beach where it's kind of interesting because a lot of times you go to a beach and it drops off after 2 or 3 feet. This beach goes out for, let's call it a quarter of a mile, where you're just waiting.
Wow.
And you got to watch out for stingrays, so make sure you do the stingray shuffle, and that's true for even in California too.
Yeah.
But you go there, and then they got cigars on they have kind of a concrete dock with these pink rocking chairs, and watching the sunset while you're smoking a cigar and drinking some mezcal. It's just, after a day of fishing or snorkeling or whatever, it just is. It's pretty badass.
Well, that sounds to me like you're living a lucky tiger life when you're down there.
Absolutely, and then you get all dressed up and you go to the Zente restaurant and you can have a fabulous dinner that's a 4-star experience. So, but no, you mentioned the Lucky Tiger. Obviously, they're the sponsor of what we're doing. I enjoy it too. I think it smells great. After a day of fishing and sweating, and it's hot. It's Mexico, so there's no way to get around the fact that you're kind of stinky after the day. At Villa del Palmar, one of the things that's pretty cool is the fact that they've got their own water supply, and it's all desalination, and so it's totally safe. And one of the things I know a lot of Americans are, they wonder, like, oh my goodness, I'm in Mexico, is it going to be safe to drink the water? And sometimes you get water in your mouth when you're taking a shower, but when you're there and you're cleaning up, there's no fear about that because it's completely safe. I can't vouch for the rest of the city, but I can say that I did not have a problem with the water elsewhere.
It sounds to me like you can't go wrong going down to Loreto. I mean, I want to go there. I've never been there. I've never been to that side of Baja. I've always been on the Pacific side of Baja, which I really like. But it sounds like the Sea of Cortez is the way to go, and for an affordable vacation, it sounds like it's a great place.
I think we should do a Lucky Tiger trip down there.
Definitely. I mean, let's get Lucky Tiger to sponsor it. Let's get Alan Murphy, the president of Lucky Tiger, to go with us. He is a man who loves to travel. I don't know if he's been down to the Sea of Cortez or Baja, but it would definitely be worth hitting him up, because we could do it. How great would it be to do one of these broadcasts live there? You know, rather than talking to each other via Skype, we should have drinks in our hands. We should be on a fishing boat doing this. Yeah. Living the Lucky Tiger life for real, live, so the viewers at home, the viewers from around the world who are using their Lucky Tiger products, those men who want to look good and feel great, can look at us looking good and feeling great down in Mexico.
That sounds awesome, man.
Once again, for those who want more from James, please visit the mantripping.com blog that is on the internet. It's not just a blog, it's a website. There's articles, there's photographs, there's everything you want to know from around the world. Stuff to eat, stuff to drink, places to stay, things to go to and experience. Mantripping.com is the place to go. And of course, James Hills is the man who runs this. He's the man who can get you things if you're a Shawshank Redemption fan. That's who James Hills is. And by the way, Shawshank Redemption is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. But go to the mantripping.com blog, and if you want to talk to James directly or follow him on social media, James, where can people do that?
So I am at mantripping on pretty much all the major social media, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or you can just email me at, James at mantripping.com.
Well, thanks, James. I really appreciate you being here. And once again, I am Robert Meyer Burnett, here for Living the Lucky Tiger Life. I hope you go to the Lucky Tiger website, both at clubluckytiger.com or to getluckytiger.com, where you can order any products you want. I highly recommend. I love their facial scrub. I hear it's even got bamboo in it, which gives it this unique texture that I'm a huge fan of. I didn't know that there was bamboo in products, but there is, and it is delightful. So you can go to getluckytiger.com and get some of that. But until next time, you should lead the Lucky Tiger life that you can. Thanks very much.